Hello, welcome to my Boxing Day video. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas or whatever you're celebrating. I know I did. Too much food and more food to come, but hello. So, where do we start with this? Amazon executive double downs on diversifying Middle-earth for the Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2. So, instead of fixing or attempting to fix the problems, i.e., the bad writing, the poor characterization, bad story structure overall, the structure and editing, and the dodgy special effects. They are doubling down on diversifying it instead of actually seeing the big issue. This is the thing, and I firmly believe this. Diversity is great when it's natural. But when you are forcing diversity, or doing it for the sake of headlines, as in this case, because it's very obvious a matter of we need headlines, we need interest, let's try and buy back an audience. They're definitely going for the Twitter crowd on this. They are literally on a sinking ship. Not only does this article read like complete clickbait, and these articles are all over the internet, there's countless versions of it, just put it into Google, you will find it. It's terrifying, and I'm sure other channels have talked about it. But when it comes to Lord of the Rings, which is a fantasy based on European mythology and intended to be a mythology for Anglo-Saxon Britain, they just want to destroy it. Because if this had been, I don't know, a big African-themed fantasy novel turned into a television series, and they said, oh, we need to add more diversity, which would be the opposite in this case, the world would explode. But because it's European, British, it's okay to destroy. It's absolutely ridiculous, and kind of this sort of cultural Marxism that is happening in amongst media. This show has already been called a big... It's made CNN, of all bloody places, CNN, the news outlet equivalent of the Sun newspaper, have called it their biggest disappointment of the year, which I find hilarious. I mean, this show was disappointing, but they don't call it disappointing for the reasons other people do. They just said it was slow and dull. I think a lot of TV now is made for the TikTok generation. Everything happens rather fast, but the thing with Rings of Power, it was slow, and The Lord of the Rings by nature is slow. Tolkien's work is slow, but that's a good thing, it's got character and it builds. Rings of Power had no plot until the very last episodes, and then a weird love triangle, which I'm sure they're going to double down on as well. Amazon don't want to fix the problem. They had, by the way, rumor mill leaks and stuff like that. They had the option to get the rights to the Silmarillion. They turned it down because of cost. This is a $1 billion television show. They didn't even adapt what they had the rights to. They took basic key points from the appendices of The Return of the King, changed them, and then wrote a 99% original story rather than adapting what they had. So they literally just threw out the work that they had for the sake of modernity. The people behind the show find Tolkien's work problematic, which is BS. But these people don't care about it. They don't care about the work they're creating. This was just purely to make money. That's all this show was. They're kind of locked into it, and they're desperately trying to make the show a success. They wanted to create a cultural phenomenon akin to Game of Thrones. Water cooler talk in the office about what happened on this week's episode of Rings of Power has not happened. Even the BitTorrents for this show has been shockingly low, and that's hilarious to witness. But they're not going to fix the actual problems. I don't think they can fix them now. You can't fix the now apparently pilot that was season 1. It was a many hours long pilot, according to them. But you also can't fix the fact that the characterization is poor, the writing is poor, the story structure is god-awful. The editing is a joke. There are basic mistakes in here that you would not see in most television shows, and there's been some good stuff on Amazon. But this show represents more or less 10 years of failure for the showrunners. The most well-known person in this entire show is Lenny Henry, Mr. Dawn French. For most people, acting is not something that comes to his mind, especially my generation. Though he is an actor and can be a very good actor. He did Othello. He was brilliant. But this show is a joke. And them doubling down on this and going down this route that they can deflect the problems. And I do believe a lot of this stuff with Diversifying Middle-earth for Season 2 is to deflect criticism. So if you criticize it, you'll be labelled an ist, a phobe, or whatever buzzword they can throw at you when you are criticizing things that have nothing to do with it. I actually feel very sorry for the actors in this. And given the fact that one of the best actors in the entire show has left, is a red flag, and I think we're going to see this more and more now. I think ultimately this show is doomed to become a meme, and the fact that there's no merchandise, there's nothing related to this show, barring this show, is another red flag. They aren't going to save the sinking ship by making it more, air quotes, diverse. They're just going to double down on the same problems with terrible writers, terrible casting choices, terrible editing, terrible everything, and create a show that is basically got some good CGI here and there, and I will say this, I will give credit where credit's due. The scenery is stunning, and some of the special effects are gorgeous, but it feels very cheap, the sets feel very small, the costumes look like something you would buy on Wish for a medieval fair or whatever. The combat is laughably hilarious. This show has no clue what it's doing. And this show, literally, they just wanted the name to sell it. They don't care about the audience. They don't care about the diverse viewers. They're just doing this to try and make money out of you and save a sinking ship. It's like the rats are clinging on for dear life. So, tell me what you think in the comments below. This is only a short video today, and keep in touch. I'm also going to add, there is a lot coming, new year, new everything, and I can't wait. So, I will talk to you guys later.